Mr. Mohamed Irshad.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you all. What happened in New Zealand recently at the two mosques was tragic and unexpected. On behalf of all Singaporeans, I would like to sincerely offer our condolences to the families that had lost their loved ones. May their souls rest in peace and eternal happiness. Mr. Deputy Speaker, before I begin, I would like to address a Singaporean mother and her family who lost their son in the recent Christchurch terror attack. In Malay, please. Saya ucapkan salam takziah kepada Puan Nuraini Abbas dari Singapura, Encik John Milne serta seluruh keluarga di atas kehilangan besar kepada keluarga almarhum Said Milne. Semoga almarhum Said Milne ditempatkan di Jannatul Firdaus dalam kebahagiaan berkekalan. Amin. Members who wish to say a silent prayer in their own beliefs may do so. Al-Fatiha. Amin. To Madam Nuraini Abbas, we are with you. Singapore is with you. And your family as you mourn the loss of your beloved son, Said Milne. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I really do not know where to begin and how to begin after hearing our Honorable Minister's speech. The various events happening worldwide have been saddening. Generations after generations, the word hate or hate speech have been very powerful. That causes one to act irrationally and drastically. It can be anyone unassuming, regardless of his race, color, or religious belief, and to a point of, in Islam we say breaking silatul rahim, or breaking the bonds between mankind using fear, hate, anger, jealousy, greed, and even innocence. This makes me wonder, what is the trigger point that the powers of hate or hate speech have over men? It can take over a person's logical power of thinking and reasoning to reach a point of irrational behavior, to hate and to even kill. Wisdom is gone forever from their hearts when hate takes over their mind. Who suffers? The innocent bystanders, the innocent child, the innocent people working hard to earn a living to feed their loved ones. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, in Minister's speech, he raised an important point and said he would like to hear the MP's opinion as to how best we can protect our country with all the issues that the Minister had highlighted. A wise man once said, tie the rosary beads too tight and will surely break and fall with great impact uncontrollably, and tie it too loose and will also naturally fall apart. So best is to take the middle way, not too tight and not too loose. It is an old saying, to tie your camel before it goes astray. About 2 weeks ago, we all read in shock about the news of a 28-year-old Australian radicalized by Islamophobic materials online who attacked 2 mosques in Christchurch, killing 50 and injuring many others. Amidst the grief, despair, and anger, the tragic event in Christchurch has created a cause for a deeper reflection of the significant challenges to extremism. Over the last few weeks, many news commentators and reports have discussed about gun laws, the role of social media, white supremacy, and anti-Muslim rhetoric. As a multicultural and religious society, we have developments that have an impact on our social cohesion in Singapore. Positive and meaningful social exchanges between different races and religious groups create the foundation of our social cohesion. Like a rich tapestry, our Singapore story is alive only because of a fine interwoven thread of social interaction. Today, at the national, community, and ground-up level, we have a number of platforms and initiatives for different communities to come together, build mutual respect and trust, and to deepen understanding about one another. However, as the Christchurch incident has reminded us, there is still much work that needs to be done. Underlying tensions, prejudice, and stereotypes between different races and religions continue to be a challenge. Through my involvement in Rose of Peace, a grown-up non-profit organization working on peace building, we have observed many cases where members of the community have experienced microaggressions and discrimination. It is thus important that we face squarely the challenges we have and find ways to proactively address it. As President Halima noted after the Christchurch incident, the most important lesson for us is to fight all forms of xenophobia and hatred perpetrated simply on the basis of a person's religion, color, or creed. Xenophobia and hatred can cut deep divisions amongst us and allow hatred to spread. And this cannot be prevented easily. As a community, I believe it is important for us to have honest, meaningful conversation beyond the polite niceties of what is going on. Such conversation may be unpleasant at some points and to people in general, but this is an opportunity to talk about experiences, about their own experiences in what they have faced in life, and to listen to others and understand and come to a mutual understanding. By allowing for more honest and meaningful dialogue interaction, we can address such misinformation as well as common stereotypes which often serve as the primary driver of prejudice. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, many of the members would have read about the Institute of Policy Studies report on race and religious relations in Singapore that was released last Thursday, as highlighted by some of the members earlier. While the survey highlighted that the vast majority of respondents affirmed that race or religion were not a barrier to social cohesion, it revealed some interesting findings which should be a cause of reflection and concern for us as a diverse and multi-ethnic society. The survey found that 1 in 4 respondents had no qualms about letting religious extremists publish their views online or to hold public meetings to talk about them. This number was much higher, close to 50% amongst younger Singaporeans. Around 15% of the respondents also found Muslims at least somewhat threatening. This was higher than any other religious group, with a notable number staying in private housing. The Honourable Minister has spoken about the rise of Islamophobia over the years on multiple occasions. The recent IPS findings certainly reflects this concerning trend. As a society, it is not good enough to say that 85% of Singaporeans do not espouse such sentiments. 15% is statistically significant, and it is, in fact, roughly the size of our entire Malay Muslim population in Singapore. Worryingly, I also observed that many citizens online questioned the validity of the findings or simply dismissed it. Just 2 days ago, Rose of Peace organized a youth forum titled Aftermath of Christchurch Lessons for Singapore. About 120 youth participated in the session, and we had robust discussion on multiculturalism in Singapore. The findings from the latest IPS study was a keen topic of discussion, and many of the youth found the finding troubling. There was a collective sense that as a country and nation, we can do better. In this regard, I would like to raise some suggestions. First, to provide education of our diverse, multicultural social fabric. I believe more can be done to educate our youth from a young age and on various religious beliefs, ethnic traditions, and cultural practices in Singapore. We have such a rich culture and social heritage that needs to be appreciated by all. Beyond the common ties that bind us, we should also focus on helping our youth understand the unique elements of each faith traditions in Singapore. At the same time, I urge the government to equip our students with necessary skill set for effective dialogues and discussion on difficult and sensitive topics revolving around race and religion. This will help us to be better mediators when the occasional conflict arises or when dispute arise. We should also create more safe spaces in schools and community where students are free to express their religious identity and for dialogues to take place in a mature and meaningful manner. In this regard, there is value in considering having a youth wing in all interreligious conference circles in Singapore, which can take the lead in spearheading such initiatives. Second, Dealing with spread of hate speech in the digital space, with the prevalence of smartphone and rise of extremist views that can disseminate rapidly online, the impact of hate speech is amplified. Before the Christchurch attack, the gunman published a manifesto on social media highlighting his extremist views. The live streaming of the attack further amplified the impact of these attacks. In addition to all the existing effort, we must all focus on equipping society, especially our youth, with the tools and skills necessary to compete effectively with extreme voices in our digital ecosystem. In this regard, I would like to call for greater collaboration and partnership between civil society and non-profit organizations with tech companies such as Facebook, Twitter, and Google to trial innovative community-based solutions. For example, we can develop a digital playbook to educate and equip fellow citizens with the knowledge and tools to counter hate speech and fake news. Such a book can detail the strategies that ordinary citizens can adopt to identify and push back on such propaganda. Thirdly, although we have Racial Harmony Day, to place greater emphasis on the importance of religious harmony in Singapore, I would like to recommend the adoption of World Interfaith Harmony Week in Singapore. This was first proposed at the United Nations General Assembly on September 23, 2010, by His Majesty King Abdullah of Jordan. Just under a month later, on October 20, 2010, it was unanimously adopted by the UN, and henceforth, the first week of February will be observed as the World Interfaith Harmony Week. This week can be an occasion for us to celebrate the rich diversity of religions that harmoniously coexisted in Singapore and promote deeper appreciation and tolerance through series of exhibitions, performances, and talks. Singaporeans tend to treat discussion on religion as sensitive and potentially divisive. However, there is an imminent need to do more to bring such conversation to intersect with a wider societal audience. This is especially so in workplaces, to foster better appreciation of people's faith, beliefs, and to encourage employees to be proud of their identity. There is value for organizations to set aside one day in a year, perhaps during the Interfaith Harmony Week, to celebrate diversity in their workplace. As the largest employer in Singapore, perhaps the public service can take the lead in this. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, Singapore's social harmony is not by chance, and it should never be taken for granted. Singapore is the world's most religiously diverse country. Multiculturalism, multi-religiosity, and multi-racialism are key tenets of our national values. However, to protect the peace and stability that we have, we need everyone to play a role and to play their part. Everyone has a role in calling out hate speech and not being a silent bystander. We have been tireless in our efforts at building this precious social harmony over the past 5 decades. Although we often claim that we are a work in progress, I hope Singapore will shine as a beacon of hope and serve as a role model to other nations struggling with social integration at the upcoming International Conference on Cohesive Societies. Lastly, we cannot deepen racial and religious understanding without deepening our cultural understanding. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I would like to conclude my speech in Tamil. நாம் சிங்கப்பூரில் சமய இன நல்லிணக்கத்தோடு தொடர்ந்து ஒன்றுபட்ட சமூகமாக திகழ்வதற்கு நாம் நமது கலாச்சாரத்தை பற்றி மிக நன்றாக புரிந்து கொள்ள வேண்டும். உதாரணத்திற்கு, சிங்கப்பூரில் ஏப்ரல் மாதம் முழுவதும் கடந்த 13 ஆண்டுகளாக தமிழ் மொழி விழா நடைபெற்று வருகிறது. இது போன்ற மொழி சார்ந்த விழாக்களின் மூலம் நாம் தாய்மொழியை வளர்ப்பது மட்டுமின்றி நமது கலாச்சாரத்தை பற்றியும் புரிந்து கொள்ள முடிகிறது. சமய இன நல்லிணக்கம் மேம்பட தாய்மொழி பற்றிய விழாக்கள் தொடர்ந்து நடைபெற வேண்டும். ஒவ்வொருவரும் தனது கலாச்சாரத்தின் அருமைகளையும் பெருமைகளையும் புரிந்து கொள்வதோடு மற்ற சமய இன மக்களின் கலாச்சாரத்தை பற்றியும் தெளிவாக புரிந்து கொள்வது மிகவும் அவசியம். குறிப்பாக இளையர்களுக்கு எல்லா இனத்தவரின் கலாச்சாரத்தை பற்றிய சரியான புரிந்துணர்வு இருப்பது நம்மிடையே நல்லிணக்கத்தை மேம்படுத்தும். கலாச்சாரத்தை சரியாக புரிந்து கொண்டால் குடும்ப உறவுகள் மேம்படும், சமூக உறவுகள் மேம்படும், ஒவ்வொரு வீடும் நலம் பெறும். அதனால் நாடு நலம் பெறும். பல இன சமூகத்தினரோடு நாம் ஒருங்கிணைந்து உறவாடவும் உரையாடவும் கலாச்சாரம் பற்றிய புரிந்துணர்வு மிகவும் உறுதுணையாக இருக்கும். Mr. Deputy Speaker, with that, I thank Minister Shanmugam for moving the motion and I support the motion. Thank you.